Premier League video cast. Now,
Yeah.
we were in profit again last week, weren't we?
Hugely in profit. We had Etienne Capoue at 14-1.
Oh, of course. How do I forget that? How do I forget bloody
hope that-
Capoue? 14-1. That's absolutely...
I hope that plenty of you were on that. We also had both teams to score in that game.
Yeah.
The only match out of the 4 that I didn't hit was Eden Hazard to score a goal, actually. So we actually hit 6 out of 8, which is pretty good.
That is 6 out of 8. That's ridiculous, especially with a 14-1 thrown in there.
Absolutely.
Eden Hazard is going out of my fantasy. He kind of flirted with being good, and then he's just gone rubbish again.
Also, pretty pleased with my draw Tottenham 10-3 tip.
Oh yeah,
that worked out pretty well. Worked out pretty much exactly how I said it would in the preview. So, fingers crossed we can find some more winners today, Jake.
Okay, so first up is Man United versus Leicester. Absolutely huge game. Leicester in incredibly good form. United not so much, but they did manage to beat Northampton.
They did manage to beat Northampton.
So that's something, I guess, for Mourinho. But who are obviously, I'm assuming United are the favourites. They're at home and stuff. So
yep, Man United up against the Premier League champions in Leicester. But there's plenty of talk about there being a big rift in the dressing room already. Happened, of course, last season to Chelsea under Mourinho.
Yeah.
And there's talk that it could be happening at Man United already. Man United, of course, lost 3 games in 8 days recently. And the names are already out for the likes of Paul Pogba, who, rather than being known as the world's most expensive player, he's now known as the man who's scored no goals but had 5 haircuts already in his Manchester United career. But the bookies think that Man United will get back to winning ways here on Saturday, Jake. 7-10 best price, so they're actually odds on to win this game. But of course, they are coming into this game on the back of a League Cup win, as well as previous to their blip. They actually managed to pick up 4 wins in a row, including beating Leicester, of course, in the Community Shield. So this match has already happened back in August, and they won it 2-1. That was at Wembley on neutral ground, and on home soil you expect them to win the game. So 7-10 seems pretty much a fair price, especially up against a Leicester team that threw away a 2-0 lead on Tuesday night. That can't be good for morale in Leicester. Vasilevsky's also suspended after he got sent off in that game for a stupid elbow on Diego Costa. So I'm not entirely sure if Robert Hoof is fit enough to play. So there could be a few injury issues at the back as well.
Yeah.
So 7-10 seems fair. However, Leicester did pick up a point in this fixture last season at Old Trafford in a 1-1 draw. And if you think that they can pick up 3 points and heap more pressure onto Jose Mourinho, their best price of 19-4.
quite like that.
So if there's any Foxes fans that fancy an upset, you're a pretty big price there of 19-4 using that odds comparison service. But my recommended bet here is going to stay away from the full-time result market.
Okay.
I just feel a little bit unnerved by Man United after those 3 losses in a row. Yes, they beat Northampton, but they're a League One side.
Yeah.
And Leicester, of course, are the Premier League champions. So I'm going to stay away from the 7-10. I think it's a bit too short to back Man United.
Yeah.
And I think both teams to score here is a better price. 7-5 on both teams to score. I'll take that all day. And as mentioned previously, Leicester are struggling defensively this season. They've already conceded 12 goals this season, including 10 against Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man United combined, showing that they struggle up against the better teams. And of course, Man United are one of those better teams. And Man United have netted in 6 of their 7 this season, so I believe that the home side will score. But I also think that Leicester will too. Leicester have netted in both of their last 2 visits to Old Trafford, and they've scored 8 goals in the last 3 games in all competitions. So they're scoring goals, as well as letting them in. So I think both teams to score here is a decent price at 7-5.
Vardy will score, that's for sure. Vardy to score and Leicester to win. That's my tip.
Brave.
I think Leicester will win. Okay? That's what I'm thinking.
I've seen plenty of people saying that Leicester will win.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced by it. That's why I'm staying out of the full-time result market and going for both teams to score.
Fair enough, but I'm sure you've got a big centre-back that's going to net you in one.
We did this last season when this match was on, and I tipped Wes Morgan to score, and he did.
He's going to again.
And yet again, he's available at a big price. Worst price here, 10-1. Best price, 16-1 on a player that scored in this very fixture last season.
That's huge, 16-1.
Even bigger than Etienne Capoue.
Can we get a bigger than 14-1? I think we might be able to there. Next up on Saturday is the 5:30 match between Arsenal and Chelsea. Big London derby, big match in general in terms of Champions League qualification and potentially Premier League title race. I mean Arsenal unlikely, but they are probably going to come fourth, or they probably won't come fourth.
They always come fourth.
They might just sneak into fourth, like they always do. But yeah, Arsenal against Chelsea, obviously. Conte had a great start to the season, but he's got a little bit nervy recently. Obviously, got that win midweek. But who are the favourites for this one?
Actually, the favourites are the home team, Arsenal.
Okay.
They seem to be back to their irrepressible best. And after a disappointing start, where they lost to Liverpool, and all the Arsenal TV YouTubers lost their minds because they lost the first match of the season. Since then, they haven't lost a game, and their best price here of 7-5. And actually, that will be Arsenal's first win against Chelsea since 2010. If you don't count the Community Shield, which very little people do.
No, I don't.
So they've got a poor run of form historically against Chelsea, but they are favourites to win here at 7-5. Chelsea have lost just one of the last 7 matches at the Emirates. That's an incredible stat. And they've only conceded once in their last 8 matches in all competitions against Arsenal.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
That's unbelievable.
That is an incredible stat
really is unbelievable.
as well. So Arsenal absolutely despise playing Chelsea at the moment. Chelsea certainly have recent history on their side in this market. And they're coming into this match on the back of a 4-2 comeback where they were 2-0 down heading into half-time. Got a goal right on half-time to make it 2-1 and then went on to win 4-2. Which is showing an awful lot of fight, and well done to them on that. And if you fancy them to win this one, they're 21-10 to win at Arsenal yet again.
That's good. Above 2-1 is pretty good for Chelsea to win any game.
Absolutely.
In the Premier League anyway. What's your recommended bet though?
I'm actually going to go against the history here and go with the market. I actually think it's right that Arsenal are favourites to win here.
Ooh.
It may sound mad because Arsenal, as I said, have got an awful record against Chelsea recently.
Terrible.
But I do think that Chelsea's defence is a real issue for them at the moment. Chelsea have major issues at the back. David Luiz is not a defender. He's had to come in for John Terry, who's injured. Gary Cahill's not looking like the Gary Cahill of old. There's plenty of Chelsea fans that I know that would rather him not be in the team, but in my opinion, he's probably their best centre-half at the moment, and he's not very good at the moment either. So they're leaking goals. They've actually conceded 10 goals in 7 games so far this season, which is crazy for a side managed by Conte. When you looked at his Italian side and also his Juventus side, it was built on that rock-solid defence. He's just not got that at Chelsea at all. And with Arsenal's attacking ways, they're going to be plenty of chances created for the likes of Perez and Sanchez, maybe even Giroud if he plays.
Yeah.
And I just think that with that back line that Chelsea have at the moment, they're in real trouble of losing this game to Arsenal. Yeah. And I think best price of 7-5 on Arsenal side that have impressed since that loss. I thought they were the better team against PSG as well. I thought they played some really nice football against PSG away, and I think with Xhaka and El Neni as their centre midfielders, they've got real balance into their team at the moment. I just really like Arsenal at the moment. Iwobi's really impressing me as well. And with Sanchez, they've got a real match winner.
Yeah.
And I just think that they can outscore Chelsea. So I'm going for a best price there of 7-5 Arsenal to win.
Could they do it then? Could they win the league? The Gunners.
Can they win the league? Yeah, they can win the league. I still think that Man City haven't really been tested.
Yeah.
The one real test for them so far has been up against Man United, and Man United didn't really perform that day. Obviously, in that first half, they were absolutely incredible, weren't they?
Yeah.
Second half, they weren't quite so good. But I do think that they're going to have a wobble at some point. And they're not going to definitely win the league, like some people are saying. And Arsenal could well be the ones to pick them, I think.
Okay. That's interesting. Have you got any kind of anytime goal scorers, big price difference?
Yeah, as we pointed out last week with Etienne Capoue, the price differences on the anytime goal scorer market can be absolutely massive. And Granit Xhaka is impressed quite a bit since he's joined from Mönchengladbach, and it will be his 3rd goal in a week if he scores in this game, and he's a worst price 11-2, or you can use our odds comparison service and get 8-1. So I quite fancy that, as he's got an absolute thunderbolt of a shot from distance.
Scored 2 shots on target, 2 goals apparently.
So for a player that's aiming to score his 3rd goal in a week, 8-1 looks good value then.
Double on Wes Morgan and Xhaka.
There you go.
That'd be very nice. Next up is West Ham versus Southampton on Sunday at 4 o'clock, Sky Sports 1. West Ham have been very shaky recently, haven't they? Coming up against the Southampton side. Who are the favourites for this one, actually? Rarely for the Premier League, the away side here is the favourites. Southampton have been made favourites for the Super Sunday Clash.
13-8 best price. Claude Puel's side have claimed back-to-back victories coming into this game, and now you can also add the League Cup match in midweek to that, so it's 3 wins on the bounce coming into this game. A lot of that is thanks to the shooting boots of Charlie Austin.
Yeah.
West Ham, on the other hand, are facing problems off the pitch. They've had brawling fans in the stadium. They've got an irate manager in Bilic who can't seem to sort out his back line, and the loss of European football money coming in after they lost their Europa League qualifier.
Yeah.
But on the pitch, it's even more concerning. They played 10 games now. Sorry, I wrote this preview, but previous to last night's game. So they've played 10 games so far this season, and they've already lost 6 times, which is mad for a Hammers team that started this season thinking of grandeur because of their decent form last season. And also even crazier when you think that they've got the Premier League's top goal scorer in Mikel Antonio, and also the top assist maker in Dimitri Payet, which is crazy when you've got 2 players like that and they just can't buy a win at the moment. And they only just scraped past Accrington at home last night. It was a 96th minute winner from Payet in a free kick, so that was just a piece of pure brilliance from one player. It's not a team kind of goal. They are seemingly under pressure, and that's why they're 15-8 here to win this game. So that's a pretty big price for a home team.
That's a huge price when you consider how good they were last season.
Absolutely.
And imagine if this game was at the end of last season, they'd probably be close to evens, if not shade of odds on.
Well, there was plenty of times last season that Chelsea were performing very, very badly.
Yeah.
And the bookies still were expecting them to win, so they were still around about 4-6 to win games, and it was crazy prices. Whereas because West Ham aren't a top echelon side like Chelsea, they actually react to how they're doing. That's good for us punters, and that's the reason that I'm actually going to be backing them to win. I just think that's a really good price. They're the underdogs here in the betting market, and it's fair. In all honesty, Southampton have started okay. They haven't lost at any of their away games so far this season. They're of course preparing this match. Sorry, that's not true. They lost to Man United. Basically, West Ham are a lopsided team at the moment. They've got plenty of great attacking players, as I've said. They've got the assist maker in Payet and the goal scorer with his amazing free kicks, and also Antonio, who just seems to bulldoze defences at the moment with his pace and his power. However, Southampton don't have a battering ram of a centre forward who's going to really put pressure on this West Ham back line. West Ham conceded 8 goals in 2 games against Watford and West Brom. Both those teams play direct football. I don't think that Southampton really play that football. Southampton play a nice kind of passing game. If they'd still had Pele up front, I would fancy Southampton to win this game because he could bully that back line that doesn't seem to be up to much. Whereas Charlie Austin and Shane Long, good players, but not really bullying types. And I think that West Ham might be able to deal with their passing game better than they have been doing up against direct teams. So I think that defensively that they're going to be better in this game, and they've also got the attacking talent in the likes of Payet and Antonio to get the goals. So I just think 15-8 is almost too much to turn down. And also when you think that West Ham have won 3 of the last 4 games against Southampton at home, I'm backing West Ham to win here at 15-8.
That's a good price and very well worded, and good theory there as well. I think that's very true. I mean, obviously, Southampton have got Charlie Austin and Shea Long up front. They're never going to set the world on fire. They're just 2 pretty good strikers. They're not big. They're kind of quite good finishers. They're good passers and stuff. Have you got any time?
I do. I've picked out Cheku Koyate. I hope I said that right. I probably haven't. Basically, he's scored 2 goals this season already, including 2 at the new London Stadium, and he's a worst price of 4-1 and best price of 6-1.
Big price.
So he's one of those players who's a threat in the air in set pieces, like he was last season, where he scored a few headed goals at the Emirates and also at the Hawthorns. So he'll be a threat to this Southampton back line from set pieces, and also he's kind of that box to box midfielder. So he kind of sometimes manages to charge forward with the ball and have a attempt from distance as well. So I think 6-1 there rather than 4-1 is a key odds difference to point out for our punters.
Yeah. Okay. So Monday Night Football is back with Burnley versus Watford. Not the most exciting title of the game in the world, but obviously Watford.
We had the David Moyes derby last week, and now we've got Burnley v Watford.
It just sounds bad, doesn't it?
What's happened to
Burnley
Monday
v
Night Football?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's an interesting matchup anyway.
It is, yeah.
Obviously, Watford have got two good, really good strikers, and they've got bloody Capu who's just smashing them in left, right, centre. So who are the favourites for this one?
I believe it's Watford are favourites to win this game.
Okay.
And they are basically because they've won 2 matches in a row. They've scored 7 goals in the process. They've scored 4 against West Ham, won that game 4-2. Managed to beat Man United 3-1. So it's a little surprise that they're favourites to beat a struggling Burnley side. The Hornets are such a big, strong team. When I see the lineups as the camera scrolls across, it's a who's who of kind of your average big gym goer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to face them would be that kind of Sunday league nightmare of look who's coming off the couch. Great.
They are Wimbledon. They are the new Wimbledon.
They are the modern day Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Probably a bit more cultured.
Yeah.
But yes, they're just looking really compact. They've got a manager in Mazzari who's obviously been there and done it in Serie A, former Inter Milan manager, so he knows his stuff. And the best price 17-10 to win this one.
Okay.
Burnley, however, have won just 1 of their 6 games in all competitions. Only scored 3 goals in the process, and even that one win against Liverpool was a 2-0 win. That was against the odds. As every other statistic in that game, they were behind Liverpool, apart from goals scored.
Yeah.
And that's the way that football goes sometimes. However, if you think Burnley can win on Monday night, you can get a best price of 19-10 if you use our odds comparison.
That's right as well. That's weird. They're both odds on, but whatever.
Yep.
What's your recommended bet for this one?
As always with Turf Moor, I'm going for a low scoring game. So under 2.5 goals to be scored here. All 3 of Burnley's home games have seen less than 3 goals scored, and that same statistic is true for the last 2 times that these 2 teams have met at Turf Moor. So
Okay.
I just think it's almost destined to be a low scoring game. Burnley have scored 3 goals and conceded just 2 in front of their home supporters so far this season. Dyche plays a conservative style of football, and considering how his side are underdogs in most fixtures, I think that's the right thing to do. I think he's a decent manager, actually, Sean Dyche, and I applaud that. His defensive record for Burnley is really, really good. They conceded just 14 goals in 23 home league games last season, and as I've said already, they've only conceded 2 at home already this season in 3 games. So they do keep teams out at Turf Moor, including managing to keep Liverpool from even scoring 1 goal against them. So I think the fact that they keep teams out and also they're struggling to score goals themselves, I think that under 2.5 goals to score is a decent bet, even though it's a short price at 4-6.
Put it in an acca.
Put it in
Put it in a bloody acca. Have you got any timers for this?
Yeah, my final one for this is Belgian international Steven Defour. This will be his 3rd goal in 7 games if he scores here, and you can get a worse price of 9-2, which is just shy of 5-1, or you can more than double it and get 10-1. That is incredible value for a midfielder who's more than capable of scoring goals. He's a decent culture of player, linked with far bigger teams than Burnley in the past. I think it's a really good signing for Burnley. And I think 10-1 there is a really good price.
That's an absolutely superb price. So let's quickly go through your tips. Man United versus Leicester on Saturday.
I've gone for both teams to score, 7-5.
Arsenal versus Chelsea.
I've gone for an Arsenal win, 7-5.
West Ham versus Southampton.
West Ham v Southampton, I've gone for a West Ham win at 15-8.
5 teams to 8.
5 teams to 8.
5 teams to 8. Okay. And finally, Burnley versus Watford Monday night.
I've gone for a dour under 2.5 goal game there at 4-6.
Oh, Monday night ball.
Monday night ball, there you go.
Monday night ball.
So thanks very much for watching. I've been Ross Casey, and don't forget that this is sponsored by our friends Sportingbet, and they do still have their £50 new customer offer. So if you fancy any of these tips, I would personally go for one of the big anytime goal scorers for a £50 free bet on one of those.
Yeah, Jesus.
So if you fancy that, then you can, of course, click the link below to make sure that you make the best odds with Sportingbet, as well as us via our app, our desktop site, our mobile site. We're pretty much everywhere. We're ubiquitous. I can't even say it. Ubiquitous.
Yes.
At easyodds.com. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel below as well. I've been Ross Casey, and this man is Jake Johns.
Whee!